Hello, this is Toby the Galactic Intuitive. How are you all doing today? I hope everyone is well. We are talking about a message I received from one of my galactic guides today about the Lyrans. And I received this message from him. It did not come from my Lyran guide, actually came from my Arcturian guide, but he shared this with me yesterday morning, so that was November the 25th. I did record this, or a version of this information, yesterday. However, my energy has been rather wonky. You may notice that it still seems a little off. There, on the backside of that Scorpio new moon, there was quite a bit of emotional intensity, and I keep hearing the word upheaval. It was like, it's almost like I'm getting the visual image of taking, if you, let's say you are looking at a body of water and you've got the soil down at the bottom and the water up above, and the water is really clear, but then something goes in and starts scooping down and deep into the layers of the soil. So then the water gets cloudy, right? And it takes a while for things to settle out or for things to rise to the surface to then be skimmed off. That's the way it's been feeling for me the last few days. So it's been rather turbulent, rather intense, and things coming up to the surface that needed to be released so that I can then transmute that and integrate the information alongside it, because there's been a huge amount of clarity, epiphany-like clarity that comes on the backside of this emotional turbulence. So it's been rather intense, and so I still feel a little off, but this message, my guide is continues to knock and remind me that it is something that needs to get out soon. So I'm going to do my best here, and if my energy seems different, that's why. I'm still working through things from that Scorpio new moon and integrating different things, and there's quite a bit of space now. A lot has been cleared, and so there is a recalibration that I'm going through with that new opening up of space. So that being said, I share all this in case you notice my energy is different. However, more importantly, because I think that many of you probably are or have or will be experiencing something similar. Okay, back to the main message. So this came through in conversation with my Arcturian guide. We were actually talking about some things about me, and then we were talking about we had a group of two, like a series of two activations and messages that were around colors. We talked about blue with the Syrian message about the superdimensional site. We talked about pink with the cosmic symphony and the oh my gosh, now why can't I think of what it was? Cosmic Symphony, that's all I could think of. There was something else, the hearth, but I can't remember the rest of it. So I'm talking about, I'm doing my best. So the next, and they mentioned that the next energy we would be discussing would be the color green. And so I've received some introductory type of messages around that it will have to do with heart, mind, and body coherence. And so I was talking to my guide about that, and he did confirm that that was coming up very, very soon, and that I would be led in this by a Lyran. And so the Lyrans had come up recently for me quite a bit. I shared a message that was directly from them, and then they came through really strongly with that message from the 9. They are part of that collective about that spoke of how loved we are. So they've been very, very close. They've been very prominent. And in addition, in a live meditation activation that I did here in Colombia on Sunday, they came through to guide us in this activation. So when he said that it would be a Lyran guiding me in this next phase of our color work, it really piqued my curiosity even further about their presence and how close they are. And I have heard, well, I've had a couple of friends talk about the Lyrans and their experiences recently. So they've been very, very close. Their presence is very, very close. And so I asked my Arcturian guide, if the Lyrans will be contacting more humans directly, because their presence, again, it just, I don't know how else to describe it, except they feel so close. They feel any sort of like energetic separation between myself and the Lyrans feels like it has been diminished and continues to diminish further and further and further. And so there's just this closeness. There's another word I want to use, but I can't think of it right now. So I asked again, is this happening for just, certainly it's not just happening for me, but is this something that is going to be happening more widely? Because they feel so close, it will be, communication with them would seem to be, it flows more readily. And so he did confirm that yes, and I'm reading from my journal here, yes, in the coming weeks and months, you will notice more and more people speaking on that, meaning on the contact from the Lyrans. And so I asked, why the Lyrans? Why not another galactic race? Why are they the ones that are going to be making this? Because in speaking with him, this felt very much like a more widespread contact. And when I say contact, I mean contact in the form of not necessarily physical contact, more than likely not physical contact, but contact through our consciousness, our conscious awareness, through our superdimensional exploration as well. So in meditation, or even, again, just within our awareness of having that communication with them. As far as why the Lyrans, he stated, and I'm going to read what he said exactly. He said, because of their energy field, they carry a softer presence, which is more readily accepted as a loving being, versus others, which, especially at first contact, feel more abrupt or harsh to the human's physicality. That can be construed as negative, and can then elicit fear amongst those who are not well versed in translating energy. And then he noted how it's important to speak on this now, which is, again, those knocks and nudges that I've been getting the last 24 hours, as it will help open the conversation amongst those who hesitate to speak on their own experience out of fear of judgment. So to break this down just a little bit, when he was talking about the abruptness or the harshness that might be felt from other galactic species, and that has to do with not them coming from a place of aggression or violence, anything like that, but merely the difference in their frequency when they're residing at such a higher dimensional level that it can feel kind of overwhelming to our physical body to hold and to be in the presence of that type of energy. And so that can, as he said, for those who may not be quite as well versed in translating energy and understanding what our body's response to that type of dimensional disparity I'm hearing between us and them, what our body is telling us about that through the physical sensations, it can be something then that elicits fear, that is triggering in a way, and can feel either overwhelming or I think overwhelming is probably a really good way to put it. And so that can cause, I'm getting this sense of recoil, of pulling away and then closing off receptivity. The Galactics, that, let's see if I can talk. Oh, Mercury retrograde, still working on me. The Galactics of the 12 races that I work with they come in love, and they come in support of humanity, to encourage us and to guide us, to help us along our path of ascension and expansion and evolution. So their intent is always to honor free will, and it's always to come from this place of support and loving encouragement. And at the same time, for any of us, I think first contact with a galactic, in whatever form that takes, can feel rather disarming or unsettling. Certainly, there's a lot of fear around ETs in our society and cultures. And there has been a lot of judgment and people that are ostracized for speaking out on their experience with ETs. And so it is perfectly understandable for any of us who, when we have that first contact, I'm getting this sense of recoil. And so stepping back away out of fear, potentially. So the reason for the Lyrans to be the ones to step forward in this broader manner is because their frequency, and that's what I'm feeling too when I was talking about repeatedly about how close they feel. It's something has shifted. We've talked so much about our transformation and evolution, and it really cannot be understated, or I should say overstated. It cannot be overstated how immense this shift is for all of us. And and that's why 2025 has been so hard. I mean, let's just be real. We have done a lot of work. There have been a lot of transformative stages, and it's shifted us into new levels of awareness, new levels of being, new levels of connection with our body and with our senses, new levels of connection and opening to our gifts, to our intuition, to our own trust, to our super dimensional aspects as well, and being able to connect into those realms. And so because we are elevating, we're moving closer to the Lyrans, and I feel that there's a bit of expansion of their field as well, to allow for ease of communication. I'm getting expansion of their energetic field as well, to allow for ease of communication with a wider group of humans here on planet Earth. So that is the main message. But one of the other things that I wanted to make sure to discuss with you guys, again, if I can talk, is as my guide said, that it's important for those of you who have this contact, if you want to share about that. Sometimes one of the most crucial parts of this is when you know you're not alone in this type of situation. Situation makes it sound negative. In this type of experience, right? It does seem in some ways, if we come from a very 3D perspective, it seems very fantastical. It seems, certainly there's mystical elements to it. It seems like it may be all imagination, but I want you guys to know that this is always a safe space for you to share your experiences if you feel called to, if you would like to. And I want to make sure that I make that very clear, that if you are open to sharing your experiences, please feel free to do so in the comments. This is a safe space for you. You are not alone in your experiences. And I think I know there are many of us that are having similar experiences, and it's important for us to trust ourselves and what we're receiving. and what we know to be true for ourselves. Okay, I had to pause there because I started coughing. It's important for us to honor and trust in what we're receiving and what we know to be true for ourselves. It is, in these situations, it is exceptionally helpful to have a community around you that sees, whether or not we've had the same experiences, but sees and honors your experiences as well. And so without judgment, without criticism, without overlaying our own opinions and beliefs on top of it. And so I want to make sure, this is probably the most important part of this message, is that you know that you have a safe place here. And along with that, something else I wanted to address, if you may have noticed in some of the comments, we do receive comments here. I receive comments on these videos at times that are don't share my opinion and can be not so kind. So the one requirement I have is that if you're sharing your story, or if you're responding to someone who has shared their story, please be kind and be respectful. I prefer to not remove comments because I feel like everyone has a right to their opinion. And if I create a safe space for everyone to express their opinion, then I have to honor all opinions, even those that I may not agree with, right? That's New Earth. That's the frequency we are embodying more and more and more. So this is a perfect time for us to practice this. However, if you are rude or say something inappropriate or derogatory, I will have those held or removed. But I really, really, really don't like to do that. Well, not necessarily in that case. I'd prefer to not have to do that. So I ask that you be respectful and be kind and feel free to express your opinion. However, that can be done in a kind and respectful way, right? We're all adults here. We should be all adults here. So use your best judgment. But because this is a safe space for everyone to be able to express their opinion. And I will reiterate this. This is New Earth. This is how taking these steps and embodying these practices is how we create and live in the New Earth frequency that's already here for us to experience. We just must choose to step into that frequency as many times as we need to before it becomes our default. And so again, this is a perfect time for us to practice this. So I encourage you to share your opinion, share your thoughts. I will respond to you as many as I can. I try to respond to everyone. What else was I going to say? I try to respond to everyone. So please feel free to do that. Energetically, I hold this container as a safe space for you. So I know I've said that a lot, but it feels very, very, very important, especially as more people are going to begin to have these experiences and communications with the Galactics, and our Lyran friends are here to initiate that with many of you. So I'm excited to hear how this comes about and what your thoughts and feelings are on it, and the experiences you have, because it'll unfold uniquely for each of us. So, but that's part of the beauty in it, right? And that's a big part of the beauty of being human, is that we all are different and yet we are the same. So, all right. What else did I want to talk about? That was the majority of it. It feels like there's something else that might want to come through. So give me just a second and let me feel into this and see what else wants to be said. The reminder of when you begin to feel the initial communication coming in it can be difficult because especially those of you who are here would probably be really excited to have this communication, or probably already are if it's happening for you. So sometimes we get really excited about it and our mind then starts asking questions. And not that there's a problem with asking questions in communication with the Lyrans, but depending upon your questions, if you're asking for, let's see if I can think of a question. I can't think of a question right now that something that goes along with the whys and hows, that can throw you out of or knock you out of the frequency that actually is required to be able to continue that communication. So you may notice that happen. If it happens, don't judge yourself. A whole load of grace to yourself in this process, because this is a new form of communication that you're learning and beginning to master. So allowing yourself to stay open as that communication is initiated, and then allowing it to just flow. And being present within that frequency is how you hold that frequency for longer, and staying present in that moment is how you maintain that frequency. So that's part of the work that we'll do with the mind, heart, body coherence work that we're going to be doing here soon. That is also the basis of the Galactic Attunement Suite. So if you're interested in diving into this further, working one-on-one with me and utilizing the activations that I've channeled in order to help facilitate expansion of the communication, as well as developing a relationship with your galactic guides, check that out. I am about to, by the time you see this video, I will have my Black Friday, Cyber Week specials going. So everything is going outside of the membership, but all of the offers and sessions with me, the attunement suite, all of the meditations, all of the activations, all of those things will be 20% off. So the coupon code for that will be in the description box. If you're interested in diving deeper with that and working one-on-one with me to develop that relationship or expand upon it, if you have one already initiated, I would love to work with you. So, let's see, was there anything else that they wanted to add to this before we go? I'm getting that, they're mentioning again that the green heart, mind, and body coherence activation that's coming. That feels like it'll be coming within the next week. It may be this weekend, but I'll get that to you as soon as the energy is right for it is when it'll come through. Just keep an eye out, because it will be coming fairly soon. And they're saying that it is timed appropriately to help facilitate. Yeah, that was the word. Help facilitate this contact with the Lyrans as well. And that, of course, is why the Lyrans will be leading us in that. Okay, that makes sense. What else do you have that you'd like to share? Anything else we need to know in order to stay open to this Lyran contact? Being in a quiet space, now it doesn't mean you have to stay there, but finding some quiet time, some stillness during your day. They were showing me someone sitting out underneath the night sky, whether it's right after the sun goes down, before the sun comes up, the middle of the night, whenever. They're saying it doesn't matter, but some time underneath the night sky outside would be beneficial. Most importantly, though, that stillness, the quiet time, because it's in that quiet space when you'll be able to hear them most clearly. Meditation, or even during moving meditation. So if you do yoga, or you're walking, or you're bike riding, or you're swimming, or you're running, or hiking, anything like that, where it allows the mind to be open and free, it's during that time. Out in nature helps too. The green. Now, some places there's not a whole lot of green right now because of the time of year, but still being in contact with Mother Earth, because there is a necessity to ground ourselves simultaneously so that we are able to maintain the frequency necessary to maintain that communication in the moment. And it also allows us to, it's the grounding, and being anchored in that way helps us stay within the heart space, and it helps to minimize that reaction of feeling triggered or a recoil or a fear response when the contact first comes in. And also that it also being grounded minimizes the propensity of the mind to then question or judge what has occurred, because your body feels safe and you're grounded. Then that allows your intuition to speak louder than the monkey mind, and to speak louder than your fear. Thank you for that. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to get this to you as soon as possible. And I appreciate you all so, so much. Thank you, as always, for your time, your presence, your being in the comments. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate all of you who help to hold that safe space within our comments and our community. That means so much to me, and you all are amazing. So thank you. I will see you guys very, very, very soon. For those of you in the United States, have a lovely Thanksgiving, however you celebrate, and I'll see you very, very soon. Thank you.